And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Last Friday. Now, I was really excited about this game. This was certainly one of my most anticipated games that came out of Gen Con in 2016 for a couple reasons. One, because I think the theme is kind of unique. I'm not a fan of horror movies at all. And this is basically the movie of Friday the 13th, where a guy comes at camp and the campers run and scream. That's actually the theme of a lot of horror movies. Even though I'm not a fan of this kind of movie, it makes for a fun board game. It can be kind of spooky. I don't want to watch the movie, but I don't mind playing the theme and having one person chase each other. But what else attracted me to the game was that it came with this giant board here that looks kind of like Scotland Yard. And it's a great looking board, and there's locations and hidden movement, and hidden movement games are a lot of fun. So the cool theme and cool mechanisms, let's see if they combine together to make a great game. Now in this game, one person is going to be Jason, or they're going to be the bad guy who's chasing everybody else. And you can see there's a big map here. There are cabins, and these cabins are closed at the beginning of the game, but they will be able to be opened. Each cabin has a sheet that goes over it, so when the cabin is unlocked, and it's going to go on one of two sides, whether the murderer is the one to open it or whether the campers are the one to open it, and then you'll place it over there and you'll be able to move into and through the cabin. The murderer himself, the psychopath, has his big giant shield here. And they're going to put a piece of paper underneath here, and they're going to be using it to mark where they are. They also have a map, so they can look at this map, so they don't have to stare at the board, so people don't have to look at their eyes. And it also gives you kind of an overview of each of the rounds. Now, underneath here, you're going to be revealing yourself sometimes at the end of certain moves, or revealing where you were several moves ago. I want you to note that I got a very, very early copy of the game, and so this board is actually punched incorrectly. It's supposed to be reversed. We were able to do a workaround and play with it, but they fixed it. It was only a few copies that they had at Gen Con. So I'm not going to be showing this much more because I want to actually show what's on the board here, but this is what the murderer has, and he'll be moving secretly. Now, each player is going to be playing either one of the campers who are coming here, and each camper has... These are different tokens you can get over the course of the game, and you're going to start with one of these tokens. You also have a special ability, and these campers are coming here basically to die. The good news about these guys is if they do die, another one shows up on the bus because, well, why not? And so when you die, you're not necessarily eliminated from the game. If Max dies, well, then Jason can come. Wait, Jason, what? Is this the bet? I'm confused. But anyway... they also have a backstory if you want to learn more about them, and then a nice big picture of them to show when they've been killed, and so you can weep for them a little bit. Now the game takes place over 4 very distinct different rounds. There's arriving at the camp, and arriving at the camp, your campers are going to be scattered throughout, and their goal is to go and uncover these tokens here. And oops, finding dead bodies is not good. You want to get dead bodies buried. But what you're looking for are the keys to the cabin so that you can get into any specific cabin and hide there. All right. Meanwhile, the murderer is going to be moving around the board. Now, just some clarification here. The campers are going to start on these white dots on the board. So let's take a look here. So campers will be moving from white dot to white dot. So this might be a move, or this might be a move as the camper goes around. The murderer is secretly moving on numbers, so he might move from 122 to 123. And in the first round, if he runs over a camper, that camper is dead, and he'll reveal that, and there'll be corpses left behind because, yay! And so that's bad for the players. They're trying to get as many people to these cabins as quickly as they can. In the second half, though, the campers are really mad for whatever reason, and they're coming after the murderer, and so the murderer is running from them. And if they catch the murderer, then the maniac loses and the chapter ends. And so each chapter can be played separately, which honestly, after looking at the rules of the game, I can't figure out why you want to play just one chapter. But then someone becomes the predestined. Whoa! For whatever reason, that person needs to be protected, and the campers need to protect them because in the third round, the maniac is coming after them. But then in the fourth round, the predestined is chasing the maniac, and the other campers are trying to block the maniac's escape, and he's hiding. And so there's some back and forth. The maniac is running away from everybody in rounds 2 and 4, but that he is chasing and trying to kill them in the rest of the rounds. Other than that, though, the game is pretty simple. Like I said, on the player's turns, you're going to be moving from dot to dot. The Maniac's going to be showing where he is after every certain number of turns. He'll place on the board. That's where he was a few turns ago. Players are going to able to use these yellow chips to show where the Maniac was at different points in time. The Maniac has different tokens that he can use depending on the scenario, where he might be hidden, or you can't see him, or he gets into a cabin, breaks into a cabin, or you thought he was dead and he's not. Whenever he shows himself, he leaves these tokens behind, which players can get, or they can leave traps or try to hear him, or bury dead bodies that they found on the board. And like I said, they start with some tokens. And so you're going to keep going, and the Maniac's revealing his round, himself every 3 rounds. And the Maniac is going to win if, well, the Maniac will lose if he is trapped at the end of the game and he can't move. So if these guys manage to surround all the spots where he is, or if the Predestined moves over the Maniac at the end of the game, then the campers also win. Or if the Maniac simply is alive at the end of the game, you know how that is. The end credits rise and his hand shows up above the lake. So that's kind of a basic overview. There's a lot more detailed rules over each chapter, but I want to talk a little bit about how I feel. Well, unfortunately, this game just misses the mark. There's a few things, there's a few reasons for that. Like I said, I think the theme is neat and I like the idea. But the problem with the game is, well, there's a few problems with the game. But let me talk about some good things. First of all, the game looks great. That board is a great board. The components for the game, the art for the campers is campy, but okay, fine. It fits the theme of the game. The pieces are fine. The tokens are easy to distinguish and blah, blah, blah. The shield is good. Well, if you get a corrected shield anyway. So that's all cool. So I like that part. The part that there's 4 different chapters is interesting in theory. Oh, okay, the focus of the game changes. But it kind of runs into a bit of a rough patch here with those chapters. Because one, the game feels very scripted. And I know it's supposed to be scripted. Oh, we do this, do that. But because of that, it's just not that interesting. For example, there are corners of this board where the different people can go. Why would you ever go to any of those corners? There's a lot of locations on this board that you just don't go to. At the beginning, everyone's like, find a key, get the key. Okay, we'll help you get to the cabin. There's no way people aren't going to die in Chapter 1. It's impossible. And I do like, by the way, that all the characters are played no matter how many players are in the game. So if you're one person, you control all 5 campers. If there's 2, you split them up, etc. But, you know, there's no way that everyone's going to survive because the murderer is just that fast. And in fact, I find that interesting. I think the game must be balanced because online I've seen people saying, no, the murderer is too powerful. No, the campers are too powerful. We thought the murderer was too powerful, but who knows? But anyhow, so you run around and you capture different people, or you're killing different people, and then people are running for cabins. It's just mad scramble for cabins. But every game, it's that same mad scramble. Every game, it's go grab a key, get to a cabin. There's not a lot of differentiation there, and there's not a lot of deduction. Then it's chase the murderer, and honestly, catching the murderer is really hard because he can just hightail it, and he can run faster than everybody else. He just goes to a corner and hides. Now, he doesn't want to go too far because he needs to come back and kill them in round 3. But again, it's just not very interesting. Then he comes back and chases them, and they're all running around again. But it doesn't have that high-toned feel that games like Scotland Yard, Letters from Whitechapel, the game behind me, Spectre Ops here, those games, it's like, oh, okay, we'll all work together. Where exactly is he? You have the feel that should be the case here. He is revealing himself every 3 moves, and yet it doesn't have that same feel to it. It's not like, ooh, where could he have gone? I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's there, but it's just, it doesn't feel as interesting and as intriguing as those. I think in this case, the theme of this game, which is the Friday the 13th, killer camp thing, was put in so strongly that they kind of sacrificed good gameplay as a result. And I know this is coming from me, someone who loves theme above all, but you gotta have a good game in there too. And I think the theme comes out, but like I said, it's scripted. It's a chase him, chase you, chase him. Someone's the chosen one, and then they chase him. But also, it's this movement around the board, and there's like, wow, look at all these cool different ways to go around the cabins and through the cabins. Yeah, but we're not going to use half of them. We're only ever going to go down these because they're the most efficient and the ways to go. And we know the murderer is coming this way, and there's a boat to cross the lake. Well, that's cool, but It didn't happen to be on my side. Oh man, well, what's the point? And yes, I know that happens in a movie. Oh, we get there and the boat's not there. But I don't know. It's not a bad game. I didn't hate it when I was playing it. It's just that when the first time I played it, I was like, is that it? Oh man, I don't know. I gotta play it again. I mean, because I wasn't sure after that first playing, but each subsequent play played out the same way. I mean, yeah, we got a little bit better at doing different things, moving around, but essentially, it just doesn't grip me. It doesn't make me want to go back and play it. Not compared to all these other deduction games that are out there. You know, even Scotland Yard, which is probably the most well-known one all over the world, where everyone's chasing Mr. X, just has that feel. Like I must have played Scotland Yard 100 times. And if you came and said, let's play it right now and set it up on the table, I'd be like, okay, let's play it. Because where is he going to hide this time? What directions is he going to take? And Scotland Yard is not even the best of that genre, but it has that replayability. And this one, I just don't see having it. So it's a cool try. And maybe it's a cool game to bring out at Halloween or something and you want to play some, what spooky games can we play? But unfortunately, it just doesn't hold up to better deduction games. Dice Tower Judgment, almost.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!